Hey everyone, today I'll show you how I paint non-metal metallic copper. Some of you have maybe seen it on my Instagram account and my Lord of Blights. It's actually a very simple recipe. I use these 4 colors for the actual copper, and then I use these 2 colors from Citadel for the verdigris on the copper. I'll be showing it on the shield from the Lord of Blights, and the copper is actually on it's on the frame of the shield, if you can call it that. Because I think there's some kind of wood in the middle here. So on the frame and also on the Nurgle mark or logo. So to start with, we'll base coat the shield with this Vallejo color, German sea black. And I will actually just base coat the whole shield. Okay, now I've base coated with the German sea black brown. Sorry, I didn't say brown before, but as you can see, this is the paint. And now we're going to paint up the light reflections on the copper, and here you can see on my wet palette here, I will mix some red leather also from Vallejo and some of the black brown. And it's roughly 1-to-1 mix. There you go. And you really want it to be like how do you say it? Like the Citadel shades. It wants to be almost the same consistency. So now we will paint the light reflections. And I'll just add some here and there where I think the light will come from the left on my Lord of Blights. Sorry, but it's actually pretty random, or I will do it pretty random. But of course, on the Nurgle markings, the light would come from the left. So I'll create some light reflections on the left, and also on these spikes. I just want to add about the glazing part. These paints have a lot of pigment. The red leather from Vallejo has a lot of pigment, so it works very well with the brown. So it don't really need that many layers. As you can see here, this is actually just one layer I'm doing here. So I would recommend you adding 1 layer first with the glaze, and then if you want a better transition, you can just add more of the black brown to the mix with the red leather to smooth out the transitions. But with these colors, it's actually very easy, quickly to make a nice transition. Okay, now I've added the places where I want the light reflection. Maybe I talked too fast before about the glazing, but I just want to make sure what I meant. That is, the areas I applied first with the first glaze, they can look kind of patchy, or that they're not really smoothed out. So that's why I actually always have on my wet palette some very thin down of the base color of the black brown color, just if I need to fade or smooth out any of the transitions between the light reflections and the darker areas on the copper. So the next step is adding more orange, or in this case it's called red leather color, to the light reflections. Before we had a mix between the red leather and the black brown, and now it's just pure of the red leather, which is also thinned down to a glaze. And the thing here is you want it to be in the very center of the reflected reflection areas. Like so. Okay, now we added the red leather glaze in the middle of the light reflections. Now we're going more towards the middle of the light reflections, and now we will mix our red leather and the sunny skin tone from Vallejo, which is also a 1-to-1 mix. The same process as before, with the consistency. Sorry, my English. Of the glaze. So the very middle of the light reflections. And this is you have to be very, very careful with the sunny skin tone, because there is a lot of pigment in it. So if you want to add more red leather to the glaze, I would recommend that from the start, just to be sure that it doesn't make any marks that you have to smooth out afterwards. So this is my first layer of the sunny skin tone and red leather mix. I had to add some more red leather actually, so I would say that you add 2 parts red leather, 2 or 3 to 1 part of sunny skin tone. And from now we just keep on adding the sunny skin tone to our mix from before, and just making the center of the reflection brighter and brighter. Just like this. This is almost more like an highlight than it has to be glazed. So as you can see now, I've added more and more sunny skin tone in the middle of the reflections, and I've added it like I would make a straight line, not like a glazing motion, so that when you see it, it looks like there is a line in the middle. And if you do like me, like in the same process, then you can just take the red letter again and make a glaze of it and smooth out that transition. Or smooth it out to get in transition, of course. Okay, as some of you might have noticed, I totally forgot to do this part over here in the middle, but it's totally fine. Nobody got hurt in the process. I just did it behind the scenes. So the next step is doing a highlight on the reflecting areas, and we will only be focusing on like the upper part of the shield, so all these points up here on the Nurgle mark, and also a part of the reflections around here. And here you are going to use only pure sunny skin tone, and be very careful also with this step, because we just need a very thin highlight in the middle of these reflecting areas. Something like that. Okay, now that we have made the sunny skin tone highlight, we're going to the final highlight of the reflections, which is adding a little bit of white to the sunny skin tone. I would say 3 parts of sunny skin tone to 1 part of white. And this is on the areas you want to be the most shiny parts. So I would think that the top spikes here and the reflections on the Nurgle marking, and the light. Well, the light is coming from the left on this one, so I would say the most sharpest areas from the light coming from the left side, if that makes sense. So up here, and here, and from the left side here. Okay, now we have done all the reflections on the copper, and now it's time to do some shading. And this is where I'm using Dark Sea Blue from Vallejo. You can also use Incubi Darkness. They're pretty similar, actually. And it's the same with before. You glaze, you make a glaze, you mix it up with water, so you have a shade-like consistency. And the areas you want to shade is everywhere in between the light reflections. So, for example, here and here. And also up here, of course, and all around the Nurgle markings too. This just creates a very nice copper look, and also gives some contrast to the brighter orangey colors. So now we've done the shading with the dark sea blue, and maybe it's hard to tell, but I think it really gives a cool finish, a cool contrast to the brown, yellow, orange colors. And now we're almost at the end. We just need to edge highlight every part of this shield, and I made a mix of the sunny skin tone and the red letter, just 1-to-1 mix, and that's just edge highlighting as you know it. Okay, now all the highlighting is done, which took a while. It's pretty much done now, the shield. And this is, of course, optional if you want to add some verdigris, which I like. I start with the Citadel paint called Ahriman Blue, and I thin it down with water. And I just apply it pretty randomly, just in all these kind of. There is some bruises or holes in the metal, and that's where I will apply it. And afterwards, I will just highlight in the center of the areas. I have added the Ahriman Blue with Temple God Blue mixed up with a little bit of white. So one of the areas would be in this hole here. There's also one here, and so on and so on. So guys, now I'm actually done with the verdigris. I would say less is more when you're applying verdigris. It can really, in my opinion, ruin the look of the cover. So just stay to a couple of areas. I also painted I don't know if it's called rivets, but the small metal parts around, just with the same highlight color, the same edge highlight color. And now it's actually done. This was, of course, my first video, so I don't hope that there's too many misunderstandings, but let me know if you have further questions, because I know I'm a rookie, and I still have to improve both my English, but also how I explain different techniques and stuff like that. But I just hope that you like this video, and yeah, that you will give it a go, and try to paint some non-metallic metal copper. Let me know in the comments if there is any other stuff you want to talk about, or any other painting tutorials you want me to do. I'm open for suggestions, and And yeah, just stay tuned for other videos, and also check out my Instagram page, NRM Paint, where I also have a lot of different tutorials. So have a nice day, guys. Bye.